Entering this season, it really felt like this wide receiver class was more of a placeholder for the 2027 class. That class, it's going to be a banner. But this class, we entered the year. Oh, will one guy go into the top 10? I have a hard time seeing three receivers go in the first round. And now here we sit, a little more than halfway through the season. And I think realistically, three wide receivers could go in the top 10, for sure, top 15. This class has really filled out nicely, and I can't wait to talk about it. So let's talk about it. I'm going to go over my top 10 wide receivers in this video. Stick around until the end because I am going to go over some honorable mentions. But without further ado, number 10, Elijah Surratt out of Indiana. He's 6'2", 206 pounds. I currently got a third round grade on him. And I do want to throw out my first honorable mention here because I think him and Surratt fall into the same bucket of being a big possession wide receivers, and that's Jacoby Lane out of USC. But with Surratt, this is a dude that was a former zero-star recruit coming out of the 2022 recruiting class. He goes to St. Francis, plays well there, gets enough traction to transfer to James Madison under Kurt Cignetti, was a first-team All-Sun Belt, and then he follows Cignetti over to Indiana, where he has a very good 2024 season, and he's having a spectacular 2025 season where he has 45 receptions, 609 yards, and 10 tutties. And take into account the last two games against UCLA and Maryland, he only has 2 receptions for 6 yards between those two games. Granted, there's a touchdown in there, but still, he's been having a really, really good season. And when it comes to Surratt, you're getting a big-bodied possession guy. He is thick. He is muscly. He is very good at the catch point, though those contested catch numbers are down from last year, and they were down from the year before when he was in the Sun Belt. So maybe something to monitor because I don't really feel it on tape. I feel like he's very, very strong at the point of attack, or at the catch point, I should say. But he's got really good body control. He knows how to finish catches. He's got strong hands. I mean, the drop rate has been low throughout his whole career. He's tough to bring down after the catch. Again, he's just so stinking strong. And he knows he doesn't have the speed to win, so he really relies on just being a better technician. Whether that's with shoulder fakes, his release, knowing how to break on routes, especially like those out routes that come back to the sideline. Dude is so good at that. He really, really is. And on top of that, if you look at his numbers from last season, 43 of his 53 receptions from last year were either first downs or touchdowns. That number this year, if you didn't know, now you know. Well, it's about the same. It's about the same. I think 38 of his 45 receptions have gone for first downs or touchdowns. Just an utterly ludicrous number, a dependable target as a pass catcher. He plays with that dog in him. He is physically imposing as a blocker as well, which, hey, that's just cherry on top. But he does lack ideal acceleration and speed to truly take the top off of defenses. He can be a bit rounded in his break-in routes, whether that's inside or outside. He's just gonna struggle to create separation consistently, and that's why I talk about that contested catch number, right? With that being low this year, he's at 33.3%, which is relatively solid for any wide receiver. But when your game is built around, I'm not gonna separate much, I'm strong at the catch point, those numbers need to be better, and they just aren't. And that's something we kind of gotta look into a little bit more, why that those numbers have gone down so drastically from last season. So if you're not going to be able to consistently win at the contested catch point, and you lack that high-end speed to consistently just create separation, then yeah, I'm going to have some concern. He also has little to no special teams experience, which that's not fair. He's got almost, I think, 100 snaps on special teams, so that's okay. Kind of want that number to be around 300. But I think he's going to be someone that falls into the late third round, early day 3 bucket. Coming in at number 9, it's Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M. He's 5'11", 190 pounds, another guy of a third-round grade on. He was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2023 recruiting class. He's currently in his true junior year, so he can return if he wants to. Started his career at NC State. He's been on my radar since his freshman season, where he was the ACC Rookie of the Year. And unfortunately, his sophomore year, he kind of had a sophomore slump, but that was in large part because there was inconsistency at quarterback. You had Grayson McCall, who started the year, I think they had that rough game against Tennessee. McCall ends up having to retire because of concussions. You get EJ Bailey in there, who having a good year this year, by the way, who was a first-time starter, so he was going through it. So Concepcion, his numbers did go down, decides to transfer, goes to A&M. He's having a great year. He really is. A&M in general is having a great year. And what Concepcion brings to the table is he's incredibly shifty. He is so sudden and bursty. He's just a slippery athlete who can turn a dink and dunk into a home run. And that's been shown time and time again this season. It really has. Of his 545 yards, we got half of those being yards after the catch. But what we've really seen from him is the long ball. Oh, man, there we go. We're finally getting that vertical aspect to his game going, showing that he could be more of a complete wide receiver on all levels of the field. And he just didn't have that last season at NC State. Very sharp out of his breaks, hardly loses speed when and this is someone who is, I think, doing a better job of moving through the gears, right? As a route runner, knowing how to change up his tempo and such. And I think he's someone who's shown to be a high football IQ type of player who knows when to sit on routes, find the soft spot and zone, and just be a consistent safety blanket for his quarterback. He's also going to be bringing return experience to the table, which you gotta love that. You just got to. However, he is while he's not undersized, he's on the lighter side. He's got a slender frame that I would love to see him continue to add to that frame in general. Does feel like he's more quick than fast. Then again, the speed has, he's kind of checked off that box of like, okay, he is getting after it vertically. Just looking at his longs for the year, he has receptions of 31, 45, 34. So he's getting down the field. While it's not like, okay, 50-yard bombs and whatnot, they have a guy that does that in Craver, who's not even eligible this year. He's still attacking the deep parts of the field and doing a good job at that. He can get out-muscled at the catch point. To be fair, contested catch numbers are a bit better this year than they ever have been. So that's a plus. The drops, golly, man. It's focus drops. It's focus drops. I think currently his drop rate over his career is 9%. This year it's 10% for the season. So you don't love that. Hasn't played a ton on special teams. And I really feel like this year they've taken more advantage, or at least the Aggies have taken more advantage of him as a return man, as he has 309 punt return yards and 2 touchdowns. So you'll love to see it. And again, being a big advocate, a big guy that absolutely loved Concepcion when he was a freshman, I love seeing him succeed after the sophomore slump in a new environment, let alone taking a step up and playing in the SEC. We love the NFL draft, and now my draft guide is available for purchase. It comes with over 500 player backgrounds and close to 300 player evals. It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So when I add a new eval or I change my rankings, you're going to be the first to know. It's going to have all the pro day and combine numbers along with analytics, and it's a Google spreadsheet for right now. So you have to include your email with the purchase, but we will be switching over to a website at the end of the year. And if you get it now, it's going to be cheaper now than it will be later. It's a great way to support the channel, and as always, much appreciated, much obliged. Coming in at number 8 is Elijah Surratt's teammate Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. I have a midday 2 grade on him, and he's just my cup of tea when it comes to wide receiver. I love these after the catch threats, these yak-like wide receivers that just can create after the catch. And that's what Cooper is. He has been phenomenal after the catch. If you didn't know, he is currently a redshirt junior, so can return. But I kind of doubt it because I think he's kind of a shoo-in to be a day 2 pick. Former 4-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. And he is built like a running back. Like Casey Concepcion, he's got running back aspects to him. Omar Cooper actually built like a running back, but he's got wide receiver long speed. He is dangerous with the ball in his hands. 17 forced missed tackles this year. He's got a run against Kennesaw State for 75 yards. Just love it. And the contact balance, the physicality, it's all there after the catch. He right now plays in a system there where a lot of his volume is quick game, quick targets, and it just allows him to be able to either take a hit, make a move, and get chunk yards, or just run away from defenders. He's got the ability to stop on a dime, maybe a nickel, and just leave defenders falling over themselves. He's got really good foot speed to get to top speed quickly. He's got vertical ability. And it's not just like he exploded so he's got one game this year against Indiana State he went for 4 touchdowns and 207 yards. But it's not like that's the only game that he only performed well against lesser competition. Illinois, 6 receptions, 78 yards and a tutty. Oregon, 7 receptions for 58 yards. Michigan State, 8 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. Maryland, just this past weekend, 7 receptions, 86 yards and a touchdown. He's played really, really well this year. He's got strong concentration at the catch point. If you look at his drop rate, it's been low his whole career. He's feisty at the catch point. Currently, this season, 57.1% on contested catches. He's solid. He's an effort blocker in the run game. And honestly, when it comes to wide receivers, that's all you can really ask for. Sure, there's going to be some guys that are just built different and can block really well. But typically at the wide receiver position, you're not expecting to get great run blockers. And Cooper, he's an effort blocker out there. He has worked both inside and outside. He's primarily working in the slot this year. But last season, where he had 594 yards, he was primarily an outside wide receiver. I will say this. Coming into this year, I think he had just 2 receptions for 20 plus yards. Thus far this season, he has, let's take a look at that number because I don't know it off the top of my head. He's got 5 receptions for 20 plus yards. So you love to see that. You love to see that. And I mean, like, catching receptions 20 plus yards down the field, not taking a reception at the 4 or 5 yards and then ripping off 20 to 30 yards. So he's done a much better job as a receiver that has the ability to attack all levels of the field. Does need to clean the footwork a little bit better at the top of routes. I'm not going to say he's a polished route runner by any means. I just don't see that. There's not much deception or fakes in his routes. He kind of just runs it as it's drawn. I'd like to see maybe a little better hand usage when he gets to the top of routes to be able to create some separation. Because if he's not making a move at the line of scrimmage, or if he's not just running away from you with his speed, then that's where he can get caught having to make catches in traffic. I wish I saw him more as a returner. He was a return man in high school, so would have loved to see more of that during his time at Indiana. I don't think he's returned kicks since his freshman year at Indiana. But again, I'm a sucker for a guy with a great yak. Omar Cooper, he has a great yak. At number 7, it's Chris Brazzell II out at Tennessee, 6'5", 200 pounds. Currently have a day 2 grade on him. Honestly, it's closer to a top 50 grade. It's just the wide receivers I have ahead of him, I just think are just as talented. I'm telling y'all, this receiver class is shaping out to be pretty darn solid. But Brazzell started his career as a 3-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. Currently, I believe Brazzell is a redshirt junior because he did redshirt his first year at Tulane. But he spends his first 2 seasons at Tulane. He has a breakout year as a redshirt freshman where he made 3rd team all AAC, and then he decides to transfer to Tennessee. He had 9 starts in 2024, ended up only having 333 yards, so it was like, okay, not really a guy that was on many people's radar entering this season. He has gone off this year. Close to 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and it's not like he did it against non-conference play. The Georgia game, 177 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mississippi State, 105 yards and a touchdown. Kentucky, 138 yards and a touchdown. And Tennessee has some solid young weapons there as well. They got Staley, they got is the other guy Barry? Oh, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But they have other good receiving targets. So he legitimately is fighting for targets among that group. Staley and no, it's Matthews. That's right, it's Matthews. I mean, yeah, look at this. Brazzell has close to 800 yards, Staley 700, and then Matthews 638. So he's fighting to get some of that volume. I do want to point this out. He was arrested prior to the season for arrests for speeding and driving on a suspended license. Doesn't look like much came from that. I don't see any other things in his history that would lead me to think he might have some character red flags. Might have just been a young kid doing something stupid. Shouldn't be doing that. But I did want to at least mention it. With Brazzell, you're getting a guy that is tall, he is long, he's got a huge catch radius, he covers a large area of the field in a short amount of time just because he's got long strides. He attacks the quarterback's leverage versus press really well. He knows how to separate when he makes his breaks on routes. He shows the ability to sink and gear down when working back to the football. He's very physical at the catch point, and dude, the body control and the hand-eye coordination when it comes to going up and just getting it, and that's saying something. He's been very good at the catch point this year, 4% drop rate, and that's a big improvement upon last season where he had a 17% drop rate. So you love to see the big improvement there. You really, really do. On top of that, his father did play in the NFL. His father was, Chris Brazzell I, who ended up being a 6th-round pick in the 1998 NFL draft by the New York Jets. Chris's brother, Colin, I believe, is a defensive back for the Volunteers currently. Now, he's long, 6'5". He's slender. I can see those contested catch numbers not being great in the NFL just because of how slender his frame is. He's playing there for Josh Heupel's offense, so the route tree is a little limited. A lot of goes, a lot of hitches, a lot of post routes. I do feel like Brazzell kind of telegraphs where he's about to go, and the route running maybe needs a little bit more refinement. But there are some cases where you see the Georgia game where he's able to give a little shimmy, a little shake, and actually break off some separation. Really no special teams experience to speak of. I think he actually has 0 special team snaps over his career. Yep, that's what I'm looking at. 0 special team snaps. But big breakout season thus far for Brassel. At number 5 is Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. He's 6'1", 209 pounds. I do have a top 50 grade on him. Let's go over a little bit of the background before we get into the actual player. He's a former 4-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. He played wide receiver, running back, and returner in high school. He won Gatorade Player of the Year in Nevada. He also played basketball and participated in track and field as a sprinter. Started his career at Michigan State, where he played in every game, but he was really just a backup and a kick returner. Decided to transfer after that year. He goes to Washington with Kalen. There's Kalen DeBoer there, but he's stuck on the depth chart because, well, that was the magical Washington year where they had Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. He would get 7 starts because I think McMillan was banged up that year. So all 3 of those guys, they go in the first 3 rounds of the 2024 NFL draft. Kalen DeBoer takes the Alabama job after Nick Saban retires. So Bernard, he follows him over there, started all 13 games last year. He had close to 800 yards, only 2 tutties. Remember, Jalen Milroe's a quarterback there, so there was a lot of rushing going on and rushing touchdowns. But Bernard this season has been really, really darn good. And this is the thing when it comes to Bernard. I think he has such a high floor as a wide receiver because he's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to maybe some of his attributes. But there's not that one trait I think he could really hang his hat on. If it's anything, it's like just how good of a technician he is as a route runner. He consistently gets separation. He is a great safety blanket for the quarterback. But at that build, he's also kind of tough to bring down. He's able to create some yards after contact. I mean, for goodness sake, 100 rush yards, 2 touchdowns this year. But the dude just understands how to run routes, how to be a wide receiver. Very reliable hands over the course of his career. He's got a drop rate of 3%. Great number. Displays some a little bit of elusiveness after the catch, but he kind of falls into the bucket as these like my initial comp for him, because I don't typically do comps early, but if I feel something, I'll write it down. I was like, he reminds me a little bit of like Josh Palmer. Does everything exceptionally well, but might be a guy that if he's going to succeed in the NFL, you got to just throw him in the slot. But he can play outside if you really need him to. But people are going to look at like Josh Palmer's production or lack thereof, and they're going to be like, okay, Bernard's no good. And I'm like, that's not fair. Maybe like a Jawan Jennings could be a better comp. I mean, just pulling these guys that played at Tennessee, I guess. But he just feels like a reliable target that is going to be a very high-end wide receiver too in the NFL. And that's the thing when it comes to Bernard, though. He can play inside and out. He also gets after it as a blocker. Again, this dude does so many things just well. When it comes to the speed, I didn't see speed that can consistently win deep. And I just don't see that being the case. I just don't see him being a vertical threat in the NFL. What are his long plays this year? Yeah, he only has 2 receptions of his 38 that have gone over 30 yards this year. Of those, he does have a couple of 20-yard receptions, but this is someone that's going to be kind of your best friend in the short to intermediate parts of the field. I think he's got good wiggle. I don't think he's that explosive. There were some struggles sometimes getting off press and sometimes taking time to get into his route. I think he kind of saw that at the start of the year. I think he's been better at that since conference play has kind of started. And part of me thinks he probably functions better in the slot in the NFL, but I wouldn't count him out as an outside wide receiver. But he just, again, does so many things well that the floor is so high with him. Before we get into my top 5 wide receivers, I got to talk about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Download the app. Sign up with promo code BROSHMO. They match that first deposit up to $1,000. Redo is the NBA. They have tipped off. I almost said kickoff, but that's an NFL term. But they do football as well. Whether it's higher or lower on player stats, weekly best ball, they got promos each and every day. So there's a lot of ways you can take advantage of Underdog Fantasy. For instance, you can take advantage of Underdog Fantasy by downloading the app and signing up with Broshmo. But as always, play responsibly, play within your means. Let's get to number 5. And that number 5 is Denzel Boston out of Washington. He's 6'4", 209 pounds. Another guy with a top 50 grade, but this is basically a fringe first round grade. And when it comes to Boston, man, this is a dude that was a former 3-star recruit and just kind of waited his turn at Washington. He redshirts his freshman year, so he's a redshirt junior. And in 2023, again, that was the magical Washington year where he was stuck behind everybody and their mom. Matter of fact, Jeremy Bernard was ahead of him. But then 2024 hits and he breaks out, going for over 800 yards and 9 tutties this year. The dude has just shown the ability to take over games. And you can make a great argument for Chris Brazzell. He should be up here as well because he's taken over games this season. But when it comes to Boston, I feel like more of the frame is filled out. You get that prototypical X wide receiver feel. He is exceptionally strong at the catch point, strong hands. He can out-muscle, box out corners. He could, he could muscle for extra chunks of yards. What is the forced missed tackle rate this year? 6. It's a fine number. It's not bad. I don't mind it. For a big body guy, hey, it is what it is. But 66.7% on contested catches. He's just so good. The hands are so short. A 2.2% drop rate. That's only 1 drop this year. He's done an exceptionally great job at that. He tracks the ball exceptionally well. I mentioned he's taken over games this season, whether it be against Washington State. You could go to the Maryland game, the Rutgers game, the Illinois game, just this, not this past weekend, but 2 weeks ago, where he went for 153 yards and a tutty. So, yeah, you just love it. He's a team captain on top of that. He's got a lot of special teams experience. He just checks a lot of boxes for me. He does have adequate speed off the line of scrimmage, but this is a dude with long strides, and he's shown long speed, but he's not the quickest or most bursty or twitchiest guy. But he has gotten up to 20, 21 miles per hour on the radar gun at points this year if you're going to just send him on a go. So, again, he's got that build-up speed. He moves like a bigger receiver, so there are times where he will struggle to gear down and come back to the quarterback or anything that's really coming back to the quarterback, or even maybe on in or out breaking routes. Not the most dynamic guy after the catch. Sometimes will round out his routes, and you kind of wish he could be sharper at the top of his breaks. He won't always get the other hand up on passes downfield. He's got ridiculous hands, but they're okay. And you know what? That's kind of a nitpick. Listen, if you're going to go up and yam it with one hand, yam it with one hand. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? But that's just a nitpick, something you just kind of notice on his tape where it's like, you probably could have got the other hand up there to make for an easier catch. Is what it is. At number 4, it's Louisville's Chris Bell. He's 6'1", 227 pounds. I do have a first-round grade on him. Entering the year, this was someone I saw on Dane Brugler's list. I saw him on a couple of scouting reports from like NFL Scouts. So I was like, okay. I didn't watch him during my first summer watch through. I watched him before the season just to get him down because it's like, okay, a lot of people are talking about him. So I should at least check him out before the season starts. And what I saw was like, okay, it's kind of he's built, it's an interesting build. He's girthy. He can create after the catch because of that. And he's got really good launch speed. But I don't really, I see kind of a very niche player. And this year, I think he's really expanded on just the nuances of the receiving position. So former 3-star from the 2022 recruiting class. He is a true senior. He ran track in high school. No kidding. You could tell just how he flies around the field. And he became a full-time starter in 2023. So this is his third year as a full-time starter. He has already set career highs in terms of yards and touchdowns this season. He obliterated my Miami Hurricanes. It sucks being a Hurricanes fan, especially after this last weekend. Just once again, another year of blowing our chances at the playoff. But when it comes to Chris Bell, yeah, he's got that thick, muscular frame, explosive straight line speed, who can kick it into top gear immediately. He can be a home run threat, not only vertically, but also underneath. He had 3 forced missed tackles in that Miami game where he went off for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wasn't great, man. It wasn't great. But he accelerates so quickly upfield after the catch. It's just legit breakaway speed. He's tough to bring down. Last year he had 11 forced missed tackles. This year he's currently at 7. But I think a big part of that is he is being used now everywhere on the field. I'm not saying he's completely polished as a route runner, but he's definitely refined aspects of that part of his game. He definitely has. The change of direction, once he gets the top speed, it's kind of tough for him to change direction, stop on a dime. If he's running his heart out on a route and it's kind of a comeback route that he has to break back towards the line of scrimmage, takes him a minute to gear down. It just does. So again, learning to tempo his routes will go a long way. He's very physical at the top of routes. He has been flagged quite a bit. 5 penalties last season, 6 penalties this year. Good grip of those are offensive pass interference. So just saying, something to take notice of. But I love the potential. I find the build just so interesting that I'd take a shot on him, even if he ends up just kind of being a niche role player where it's like, okay, we're either going to dump it down to him underneath, or he's going to run a vertical route and try to win that way. Just tear the top off of defense. I think I'm okay with that, but he brings much more to the table than just those things. Coming in at number 3, it's Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. He's 6'3", 191 pounds. Having a banger year. This is a dude that's a former 5-star recruit. He's a true junior. Can return. Doubt he will because he's going to go in the top half of the first round. I have him listed as a top 20 grade. I think he's going to end up in the top 15, maybe even in the top 10 when it's all said and done. He's had a wonderful season. 39 receptions for 711 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's expanded parts of his game that I just didn't think we were going to see. I looked at Tate coming into the season and was like, okay, he's kind of a safety blanket type of wide receiver, maybe a possession type that will be a high-end wide receiver too. And we've said things about other Ohio State wide receivers like Jackson Smith Najigba, Mecca Ibuka, who have been set in the league on fire. So yeah, if you kind of drop Carnell Tate into that bucket, then it's like, well, more times than not, that's going to work out and work out exceptionally well. Tate, man, long frame, has room to add more mass. He's so competitive at the catch point this year. He's 11 for 12 on contested catches. Just wonderful in that aspect. Doesn't have a drop this season. He's a 4.4% drop rate over the course of his career. So you're talking about a guy with not just reliable, but maybe the most reliable hands in this class. He always does a good job of just putting himself between the ball and the defender. He runs the full route tree. He understands how to run with tempo, even if I don't think he's necessarily the fastest or has elite stop-start ability. His just polish as a route runner just kind of takes him over the top in that regard. And I think that's the most present in how many big receptions he has had this season. He has, 5 receptions this year for over, I believe he's got 6 receptions this year that have gone for over 40 yards. That's a part of his game I didn't expect him to unlock. And he's unlocked it. Go figure. But he is a great wide receiver who knows how to find the soft spots in zone. He's not just a safety blanket. He is the safetiest of blankets. He brings good special teams experience as well. And he's a high-end wide receiver too, with the chance to be a wide receiver 1. That's just the only way to put it. Again, after years of like looking at JSN or Emeka Buka, be like, oh, those are high-end wide receiver 2s who have become the 1s on their team. Screw that. Tate can be a 1. He can be a 1. Now, I mentioned the long speed is it's okay. He knows how to kick it into third gear, but I wouldn't say it's elite. The stop-start ability, I wouldn't say is elite. He's an effort blocker who does still need to refine aspects of that game, which it's kind of weird looking at a Brian Hartline coached team or wide receiver group and being like, you're not nearly as good as a run blocker as some of the other guys that have come out. But that's neither here or there. Not dynamic after the catch in terms he's not going to make guys miss. Only 4 missed tackles this season. I think he had only 6 the year before. But that's fine. That's fine. You don't necessarily need that. I know that I'm a sucker for that, but you don't necessarily need that to be a great wide receiver in the NFL. Coming in at number 2, it's Makai Lemon out of USC. He's 5'11", 195 pounds. I got a top 10 grade on him because, well, of course I do. I am a sucker for a player with a good yak, and he has got great yak. He's got 16 forced missed tackles thus far this season, and this is a dude that's a former 4-star going into this is his true junior year. And he is just an explosive athlete who can turn moderate gains into home run plays. He explodes out of his breaks. He is a smooth route runner who knows how to use tempo and burst to create separation. Light footwork. Shows off a pretty solid release, so makes me believe maybe he could play a little bit more on the outside, though he has been a slot guy for the majority of his career thus far. And he is just consistently stacking defenders. He tracks the ball well downfield. This is a big improvement in his game that I think it's just the play. I don't even know if it's necessarily the play strength, but the dog in this guy gives me feelings of Steve Smith Sr. back in the day when he was with the Panthers or the Ravens. Just gets after it despite his size. He's got a 57.1% contested catch rate. That's pretty good at 5'11", 195. So yeah, he might have moderate size, but he gets after it. He's a dog. That brings dangerous home run ability on top of being a great returner as well. He will bring that aspect to the NFL. I will say someone that's not going to run block well. A lot of lunges out there where he's he's lunging at air, trying to make a block. But that is what it is. They're paying you for what you can do with the ball in your hands. So I'm not too worried about it. Will probably be more of a slot guy in the NFL. The catch rate's been great his whole career. He's got a 3.6% drop rate. What are his yards after catch this season? Let's see, do I got this number on me? So 776 yards, 383 of those have come after the catch. Love to see it. Love to see it. He is just, I think he is the perfect big play target if you are looking for that big play target. Can be an alpha, can be a number one. I think the possibility is in there. If he ends up being Steve Smith light, then I think the possibility is in there. And then at number one, it's Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. Again, another top 10 grade here. I think he probably has the best chance of being a potential top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. And that's why I have him at number one. He is a former 3-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. He played wide receiver and returner at high school, also played basketball. His father, John, played football at Florida A&M, and his brothers are athletes as well, as he has one who plays football at South Alabama, while the other, Jalen Tyson, might have heard of him, played basketball at Texas, Texas Tech, and California before being a first-round pick in the NBA draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, Jordan Tyson started his career at Colorado. He played in 9 games and became the first Colorado freshman to record a touchdown catch in the season opener. Fortunately, did sustain a knee injury in the season finale. He ended up choosing to transfer, and then he redshirted. So he transfers to Arizona State in 2023, chooses to redshirt as he rehabs from the knee injury. And then he has this massive breakout year in 2024 where he goes for over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Unfortunately, breaks his collarbone in the season finale versus Arizona, causes him to miss the playoff game against Texas. This year, he's been hampered by a hamstring injury, I believe. And on top of other things not going well, Arizona State has had multiple season-ending injuries. They've had an injury problem to some of their star players. Sam Levitt just went down with the season-ending injury. I believe it was the foot. But Tyson has still produced, and he's produced against good competition in big games. The Texas Tech game, the last game he played, was he went for 10 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. He had a good game against TCU. I remember that game. Dude just took over. And listen, man, he's tall, he's well built, he's ripped with the ability to add more mass to that frame. Natural ball skills, only a 1.7% drop rate this year. One drop on the year, which is great. He had some, I don't want to call them focus drops. Some of them, yeah, I think majority of them last season were focus drops that led him to have a high drop rate this year. But you watch the tape and you're like, but boy, he can pull down some catches and he's got some strong hands. Cleaned up this year. Love to see it. Love to see it. Smooth route runner. He's up there with one of the best route runners in this class. He plays with that my ball mentality. He understands leverage, how to manipulate it. He's explosive out of his breaks, a very good athlete. He's strong. He flashes just the ability to be difficult after the catch. This season, he's got six forced missed tackles. That's on 57 receptions. Again, I'm not saying he's an elite guy after the catch, but he's strong. He's tough to bring down after the catch. He is consistently winning one-on-ones in man coverage. I wouldn't be surprised if that number is high again this year. I think he was actually led all of college football last year in yards versus man coverage. Again, this year's numbers are going to be a little skewed just because he's missed some games hurt. But he comes from an athletic family. He buys into the whole Hines Ward, no block, no rock. But the injuries are a bit concerning because now they've piled up during his collegiate career. The knee injury, the collarbone, and then the hamstring injury. So that is something that where medicals are going to be a bit important. Not a lot of special teams experience over the course of his career. And I think he's got a nice release package, but I think there are a bit more inconsistencies when dealing with with press and more physical wide receivers that led to more catches in traffic, more contested catch scenarios. Then again, man, he's been making phenomenal catches all year long. I think I talked about Jordan Tyson in my stock report going over the TCU game and how it's like, man, this guy was forced to make so many catches that were just off target that it was ridiculous. And you could really see the ball skills, see the hand-eye coordination, see the ability to adjust to the catch and just the body control. But Jordan Tyson's phenomenal. Hopefully everything checks out with the medicals. That's kind of the big thing when it comes to Jordan Tyson. But let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some honorable mentions. I already mentioned when I was talking about Elijah Surratt about USC's Jacoby Lane, more of a possession guy in my opinion. But he was 11 on this list. I have a nice little area where I have these small, twitchy, speedy, dynamic wide receivers like Zachariah Branch out of Georgia. He's 5'10", 180. He's having a good year. Eric Singleton Jr. out of Auburn, 5'10", 178. He would have been having a good year if he had a good quarterback. There's no good quarterback apparently in Auburn. They just fired Hugh Freeze as well. But I think I have them as day two options. Just, again, they're more niche type of players. Then, hey, dude, let me give a shout out to CJ Daniels out of Miami, having a solid season. So a guy that I think is going to be a good, if you again, when it comes to wide receiver, variety is the spice of life at the wide receiver, or when it comes to your wide receiver room. You want a bunch of guys that do things differently. You want to have every answer you could possibly have in that wide receiver group. And if you're looking for a big body, contested catch guy that can go out with strong hands and make spectacular catches, that's kind of CJ Daniels. He will be an older prospect, and it's nice to see him break out, or I guess re-break out, re-emerge, because he had a big year at Liberty, goes to LSU, and just kind of gets lost in the shuffle there, and then comes to Miami and just plays hella good. He's only, I was trying to remember. Yeah, okay. Liberty last year was 2023. I was like, was there another stop before he went to LSU? But there wasn't. There's Josh Cameron out of Baylor. To me, he just doesn't. Did he go down with injury? Actually, Josh Cameron, Baylor. I don't think he did. Yeah, I see nothing that I didn't think he got hurt, but he's been solid this year. You've been looking for more consistency with him. He wears, I think, number 43, which is just wild. But he is good after the catch, but he's shown good ball skills. We're just kind of, if he wants to be a top 100 player, just need to continue to see him be consistent in that regard. Actually, how did he fare this past weekend? I put Josh Baylor. Josh Cameron, please. Here we go. Against Central Florida, 3 catches for 5 yards and a touchdown. I'll take it. But yeah, man, it would be nice to see him like get more work in that offense in their big games. Like Cincinnati, he only had 4 targets. But then again, you go to like TCU where he had 11. I think the big game for him this year was SMU, who have been giving up a lot of yards to a lot of people. So they're kind of a high risk, high reward, where they'll give up a ton of yards, but they can create turnovers. So that SMU game is the only game where he had over 100 yards receiving. So it's like, it just gives you pause to buy into him. Deion Burks is having a good bounce back year after injury last year there at Oklahoma. Unfortunately, when Mateer went down, just the passing, Mateer went down and then he returned. Keep in mind, Mateer had a broken bone in his hand, and it seems to affect the passing. The passing just hasn't been there for Oklahoma since Mateer has returned, and Deion Burks' production has kind of taken a hit. But you're still getting, while he might not have like the best size in the world, a speedy guy that can create separation and create after the catch. There's some big body targets in this class. Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame, formerly of Virginia, 6'4", 220. I think he had a touchdown where him and his wide receiver were literally, him and his another pass catcher were in the same vicinity, and Malachi Fields just kind of catches over the top of him. It was kind of funny for a touchdown. Dane Key out of Nebraska. The production quite hasn't been there. And now with Dylan Raiola out for the remainder of the year, I don't know. I think it's hard to buy into Dane Key a little bit, unfortunately, as anything more than a mid to late day 3 prospect. But he's 6'3", 210 pounds. Kevin Coleman, man. Oh, he's been fun. But he fought out of Missouri. A guy that's been, he's on his 4th different school, right? Yeah. Because he started his career at Jackson State, went to Louisville, went to Mississippi State, and now at Missouri. This is only his 4th year. 4 schools in 4 different years. I'm kind of curious how that'll pan out during the offseason draft process. But now that Bo Prabula is out for the year, Coleman, I still think they probably lean a lot on Coleman just in the quick game. But again, we're talking about a speedy guy, twitched up, but it kind of has to be because he's 5'10", 175, right? Baron Brown out of LSU is a fun player, but again, more of a track star that's going to bring return capabilities, but he's shown some good ball skills. He was formerly a Kentucky prior to that. Let's see. Okay, I need to talk about some of the guys I have listed as returning, I think, because there's going to be a lot of people like, where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy? So I got a lot of guys listed as returning. Granted, Antonio Williams out of Clemson has kind of been popping off recently, but it felt like he was in the midst of another just year where he's going to be hampered by injury. I think he probably falls into that top 50 to mid day 2 bucket, but he's coming off a game against Duke where he had 10 receptions for 149 yards and a touchdown. This is his first game this season where he went for over 100 yards. And I know Clemson has had its struggles, but he's got another year of eligibility. I believe he's a true junior. Or no, he's a redshirt junior, excuse me. So I think he can return. Nick Harbor, come on, dude. South Carolina just fired their offensive coordinator. They have one of the worst offenses in the SEC. I think him and Lenore Sellers could probably hit the transfer portal, potentially. I got DeAndre Moore out of Texas returning. I thought he would have a bigger pie of the offense and maybe break out, and he just really hasn't. He's a true junior, so it makes sense that he returns. Ian Strachan out of Rutgers, I watched last week. He is 6'3", 211 pounds. He is also a true junior, and he kind of falls into a similar bucket as Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. He's this just big-bodied possession wide receiver who low-key knows how to create some separation downfield. And it's not because he's like the fastest guy, but he's got some acceleration, so a little bit of burst out of his breaks. So he's definitely a fascinating prospect, but I don't think he comes out. I got Aaron Anderson out of LSU, 5'9", 188, kind of built more so kind of like a running back to some regards. He's kind of girthy, but dude's got great contact balance. He's got great speed. He could win not just after the catch, but also downfield. He's a redshirt junior, so I think he could probably return as well, especially with just all the turmoil going on at Ole Miss. I expect Evan Stewart to return. If he comes out, I think he probably ends up being a early to midday 3 target. The Oregon wide receiver, 5'10", 182. It's just he hasn't played at all this year. He tore his patellar tendon prior to the season, so it just makes sense for him to redshirt and return. There's Deuce Robinson out of Florida State, man. He is a true junior who is just built different. He's a physical specimen at 6'6", 222 pounds. He might not have the twitch or the suddenness, but he just is a monster at the catch point. Total monster. Was having a good year there. He is having a good year there at Florida State, but I think I would for him to be an apps for him to I think there's a possibility of him being a top 50 prospect. Not quite there yet with it, but just the way he is built. And I mean, I think he's got solid launch speed as well, but I mean, speed's not going to be his trump card. It's just not. But yeah, I think there's the potential to be a first round guy. That's why I think he probably returns. Do want to give shout outs to some of the Notre Dame receivers. Greathouse, I built Jaden Greathouse, I think has been beat up this year. Let's see, because I think it's who's the other Notre Dame wide receiver? Jordan Faison. Yeah, I think Faison's had to kind of step up in a bigger role. Yeah, because Greathouse has been out since week 5. I didn't look into it if it's a season-ending injury, but I imagine he returns because he's another guy who's a true junior. Faison, I think, has really polished some aspects to his game, but he's also a true junior, so I could see him returning. Let me give some shout outs to guys that I hadn't watched yet, but that are on my watch list. Eric Rivers from Georgia Tech, RIP Georgia Tech, in their undefeated season. He's undersized, but he's a speedster. Just don't have a full eval on him yet. Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's brother, wide receiver at North Dakota State. He's 6'3", 207. I just haven't gotten tape on him yet, so I'm waiting. Skylar Bell out of UConn, 5'11", 186, has gone off. I think he's coming off a game where he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, right? Let's take a gander at this sucker. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns against UAB. Yeah, he's having a phenomenal year. He's already over 1,000 yards, 11 tutties. I can't wait to watch his film, man. I really, really can't. And I mean, there's other guys. Isaiah Horton's having a good year. Does he have another year of eligibility? Okay, he's a redshirt junior, so he could return if he wants. There's Caleb Douglas I really want to watch from Texas Tech. Just haven't got to his film. I mean, dude, yeah, there's a lot of interesting and fun names in this class. I think this class could turn out to be better than anticipated heading into the year. Of course, there's some fallers here, like Noah Thomas. Just, he's kind of fallen into more of a role player for Georgia. Kind of is what it is. I don't think he's got another year of eligibility. So I think he just ends up being a tall vertical speedster. That's just what he's going to look like coming out. There's Trebor Pena and Kyron Hudson. They were at Penn State. They were guys that I thought had good day 3 value, but Penn State's just been on the struggle bus. They haven't really been able to show what they can do. They're both older prospects as well, so they probably end up being in the late day 3, maybe priority UDFA tier. But let me know. I just listed out a ton of wide receivers. I could have talked about Eric McAllister as well, who he's tall and sturdy, cool. He's got some fun launch speed, but it's build-up speed. I don't think he's that polished. So he's kind of a niche player. He's kind of a yak weapon, but yeah, there's a ton of wide receivers in this class. So let me know who are some of your favorites in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. As always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.